ain't scared to lose a little, take a risk and make it back. Have you seen the way I train? Ain't no slipping off a track. Cause we only moving forward, ain't no way we going back. There's big money on the table, I'm not trying to break the rules. Cause my ego now I'm poor and I got bigger things to prove. I done stood it's time to plan it out and now it's going smooth.
Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of the Extreme Lifestyle Living Podcast. Now today, what I wanted to talk to you guys about is don't make assumptions. Now the last episode I finished off on a little bit of my battery died, as I will say. And it's funny because I'm starting to record these episodes in batch. And before I get into the topic of the conversation, don't make assumptions. It's so crazy how like the mental fog and all this stuff with prep is kind of getting up to me. And I don't even like talking about it because it's such a personal thing. And I don't like when other people just kind of like in prep and bodybuilding prep or doing these things and they kind of like, you know, inflict it onto the world around them, like by carrying their Tupperware around and talking about it all the time and jamming it down everyone's throats because it's a personal decision, you know. And not that I don't want to talk about it from the standpoint of like, you know, like getting supports and like being proud of what I'm doing. But I just think, you know, it's such an internal battle that I think if you got to be careful from getting caught up in the just bitching and moaning what's going on. But the reason I'm saying that is because, you know, I like literally, like, as I said last episode, was being impeccable with your word. And I lead by example is your boy is fucking tired. It is crazy how tired I am and how like just exhausted I am. But it's just insane with how like, you know, sometimes my mind just fucking slips. It's gone. It just goes. And all of a sudden I'm like very present, just staring at whatever I'm staring at. I'm like, damn, like I need some food. I need some sleep. I need some rest. Jamming caffeine in my system. It's crazy. But I just wanted to say all this because, you know, I really appreciate all your guys' support around it all. And I really just want to bring like a different light to bodybuilding. And I think that's why I haven't really even talked about it much is because like I really want to just have, I don't know, I just really want to present it in a way that is just way more healthier in how I feel is a holistic lifestyle thing. Because just because I'm stepping on stage and getting a spray tan and doing all that stuff doesn't mean jack shit, you know. The thing that I like to talk about is the healthy lifestyle habits that I have, let alone I'm tired. I know besides that is like the step goals, you know, nutrition goals, water goals, all these different things. And I just think, you know, from a standpoint of everyone wanting to shred fat, gain muscle, and look at themselves and be confident, I think that's what I want to share. But I don't know how to share that yet. You know, so I'm kind of being quiet about it. But, you know, just with my brain kind of leaving me in these episodes, and, you know, the podcast is where I'm the most vulnerable, is to, you know, just share it with you guys. Say I appreciate you guys' patience with me and things like that. And, yeah, because it's definitely not fucking easy, I'll tell you that much. And it was crazy because even recording these episodes today, I'm recording 2 episodes. I gymmed earlier, had to do my progress photos, had to do my check-in with my coach, even though that's a whole different story. But, yeah. Like just busy ass day. But today's topic of the conversation is don't make assumptions. You know what I mean? And the reason why I want to talk about don't make assumptions is because, you know, there's a saying that comes with it, and it's like you don't make assumptions because it makes an ass out of you and it potentially makes an ass out of the other person. And I think, you know, from the standpoint I want to take from like don't make assumptions is like, you know, from the standpoint of like, you know, you protecting your boundaries. Because you don't need to use your energy to worry about other people and making assumptions. And obviously, there's like a different story we could talk about or a different idea of this that we could talk about if it's like something that's like you have hard facts on, you know, because that's different. You know what I mean? You don't want to make assumptions unless you do have hard facts or you have something that's blatantly like confirming that it's obviously whatever you think it is, you know, because the biggest thing about making assumptions is that like you just create and not only create, but use so much wasted energy. You know, just think about that whole analogy of like when someone has a sweater and there's that one string that's attached to it and they just pull it. That's like making an assumption. You like start this whole unraveling of like, well, what about this? What about that? And if I assume that is this way, then I can assume this is this way. And it's like you have this crazy ripple effect of just like landsliding your mental health, your mindset, your mood, your energy, your vibe, your aura, whatever the fuck you're doing. Like you can just shift it. So many playing fields left or right or up or down, however you want to look at it or how it resonates. But the biggest thing about it is like you think about steps. Let's break it down in terms of steps. We take 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, 4. Then when you think about that from the standpoint of making assumptions, if you think of you making one assumption that's wrong, and then that puts you in a state of thinking of that assumption from a standpoint of this negative standpoint, then that assumption brings on this assumption, step 2, step 3, step 4. You have 4 assumptions of things going all of these different areas. And we're not going to talk about how fast the human brain is. And this is only one pathway we're talking about. What if you have 16 different assumptions with 16 different step 3, 4, 5. So you know what I'm saying? So then you can see how fast these numbers multiply and how you can get overwhelmed. And that's why it's so important to look at don't make assumptions from the protecting your boundary standpoint. Is because it's to protect your energy, it's to conserve your energy, and it's above all else not make an asshole to yourself and potentially the other person. Because we've all been on the side of the table of like assuming the negative side of things, or especially in a relationship, assuming the insecurity standpoint of things, and making an ass out of ourselves and getting like mad. Like let's say you're in a relationship and you're like, your last relationship you got cheated on or had like bad relationships with the people and all these different things. So you assume a lot of these same things are going to be happening in this relationship, so you make an ass out of yourself and not make an ass out of the person that you're with. Because what if the person you're with is actually loving and enduring and nurturing and fucking full of love, and you're just over there being like, you're fucking asshole, because you're making all these assumptions. So you're down 16 different pathways of step 1, 2, 3, 4s. So from protecting your boundary standpoint, it's just to protect your energy. You don't deserve to put your mind through so much chaos all the time just because you just like have these different ideas of how things are by making these assumptions. So to wrap it up and just kind of really like hit it home in terms of how you can kind of find stability, gain control and momentum and not making assumptions, as I said, unless it's hard facts or blatantly obvious, like don't let your body, your mind roam free and making assumptions. You know what I mean? Try to stick to the facts. And if you've been listening to my podcast episodes for a while, I always talk about anxiety and pairing that with realism. I used to be riddled with anxiety. Like I'm talking about like to the point that like seriously, my social anxiety, I convinced people it didn't exist. Like in my head, I was like, Jesus, like it was crazy. My friends would be like, man, these people know you. I'm like, no, I swear to God, they don't. And that's honestly, I think, like, sometimes I have like a little bit of an issue with that now, even today when I'm in the gym and things, some people try to talk to me and things. I'm like, you don't want to talk to me, dog. Like, but it's really just my own insecurity with my anxiety. But that led me to do a lot of assumptions and things like that, right? But when I paired that with the realism, you know what I mean? Especially talking about hard facts and things that are blatantly obvious, it just made me make things a lot easier, especially when we're talking about being confident with making these assumptions. Because when you start building momentum of knowing which side of the fence to stand on with your boundaries and making assumptions, you can be like, no, this is prime example, the relationship one, right? If you've been cheated on before, you protected your boundaries around that and built them up, and now you're fucking feeling good about yourself. Then when someone starts to do things that are blatantly obvious cheating signs, or doing things that are kind of hard facts of cheating signs, you're going to stand tall and fucking do that. And then, because we've all, not all, but like, we've all been part of those, like some of those shitty ass relationships where people try to convince you they're not being assholes, and you're like, well, are you? It's like, no. So you don't make assumptions. And this is where I have my favorite quote that I think, I can't remember where I heard it from, but there's this quote that really, really resonated with me on top of like the hard facts and like looking at realism in terms of not making assumptions, is expect people to behave as they are. So expect people to behave as they are. I think that's so powerful because, to make assumptions like with hard facts and blatantly obvious things, when you start picking up trends and you start gaining self-worth, I talked about being impeccable with your word. Imagine you're not making assumptions. You're impeccable with your word. You're standing tall. You're building these boundaries. You're being proud of how you're feeling about your life. You know what I mean? So you're not making assumptions. You're just going based on hard facts, things that are blatantly obvious. And you're just expecting people to behave as they are. And I think that's the cool thing about it, because, when it comes back to protecting your boundaries, this is how, and shout out my clients, we had these one-on-ones when I say this stuff is, I want you to get arrogant with this, because you're not arrogant. You're insecure because you have low self-worth amongst the world. So you got to protect your boundaries so you feel confident within your life to have control. And if I tell you to go be arrogant, then you're just going to come off confidence to the rest of the world. I feel like an arrogant prick sometimes, but really I'm just like radiating confidence because I'm just so pure to what I'm doing, and just in terms of what I believe in and how I'm doing it, But when you pair hard facts and things that are blatantly obvious with expecting people to behave as they are, and then you're building momentum and finding out trends and all these different things, you can maneuver around the world like crazy. Like it's actually, it's crazy. And like I said, I'm not talking about don't make assumptions about all these different things. It's external. It's all for your internal. It's for your internal peace. You do not deserve to be ripping around with like so many different, like you say, however it resonates, algorithms in your head of conversations that don't matter. I have one of my favorite ones is like, you don't need a bunch of tabs open in your brain for no reason. They have a bunch of shit that's just slowing your brain down for nothing, So this is all to protect your boundaries, protect your energy, and find your peace amongst the chaos within your life. And, so then you can just focus on the hard facts and making decisions based on what's blatantly obvious, and then expecting people to behave as they are. Because some people are dicks, but some people are very good. And you can make an ass out of yourself on them as well. But, to end off this rant, I just want to say I have a lot of love and appreciation for you guys. And I appreciate the rant at the beginning. You guys have to listen to it. So it's, I can't appreciate you guys for sticking around for it. But, unless you guys canceled stop listening to the episode. But anyways. Appreciate you guys all. When you guys are listening to this, I'll be 5 weeks out, and then the next maybe the next few episodes we'll talk a little bit about the bodybuilding show and stuff. But I think to be fully transparent and end it off, the bodybuilding show is something very close to my heart, and I just think it's one of those things that dream come true to be where I'm at right now. And I have this mentality with a lot of the goals that I have, which is why I feel like I'm seeing the success that I feel like I deserve. Is I don't talk about things or act about things until they're done. And like I said, actions speak louder than words. And some of my actions I still got to do before these actions are louder than my words. You know what I mean? So I'd much rather just put in that work, show up day by day, and as I always say, brick by brick. But I appreciate you guys all. Have a blessed motherfucking week, and we'll be talking. Let's get it.
Lights hard, but we go harder, yeah, that's a fact. We ain't scared to lose a little, take a risk and make it back. Have you seen the way I train? Ain't no slipping off a track, cause we only move forward, ain't no way we going back. There's big money on the table, I'm not trying to break the rules, cause my ego